Hello, students and parents of the Muroc Joint Unified School District. My name is Kevin Cordes. I'm the district superintendent, and I just want to thank you for tuning in again this week, and thank you for a very successful first week of school. It was a wonderful experience to see all of the kids back on the campus. We had essentially 2,000 people that came back with students and staff, and by and large, everything went very smoothly. Every year we have to get off to the start of school and kind of get into a groove, and COVID definitely adds another layer to do that. I just want to share with you that we did have one classroom at Bailey Elementary School that we needed to move to distance learning because of a positive COVID test that came through there. So that class they move straight into distance learning, and they'll do so during their quick quarantine time, and then they'll be back into the classroom. And our first experience with that, although we're sad that we had to go through it, like almost every elementary or junior, senior high school that we see up and down the state, everyone's going through it to some degree. So the way it was handled was just excellent and very professional, and I just want to express appreciation to the families that were impacted by that, and thank you for your support and your understanding. We also had a staff member and a student that tested positive over in Boron, and so we were able to go through and do contact tracing and contact parents and go through that as well. And I just want to express appreciation to everyone that has worked with us. So anytime that we know that we have a positive case, which is self-reported to us so far at this point, what we do is we immediately start contact tracing, and we look at, if they're at elementary school, the classroom is a cohort, and so that's pretty easy. If they're at high school, what we do is we take a look at where that student sits. Every class has a seating chart, so we can tell which students were within 6 feet of them. And also at lunch, what we've done is we've taken precautions to spread students out even further than they've been sitting. So in the classroom, it's pretty easy because everyone is masked, and we appreciate everyone's support in that. Students do get to take their masks off, of course, when they're eating, and they get to take them off when they're outside. And so it's in those environments that we just need to be careful. And the best thing that we can do is mask up as much as we can, and also be mindful that anytime that we have spent more than 15 minutes in a 24-hour period with any individual, if that person were to test positive, you become a direct contact with them. So that's kind of that guideline you want to look at, is 15 minutes within any 24-hour period, and that doesn't have to be consecutive. It's a totality of time. So it could be 2 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at lunch, a couple more minutes in the afternoon, and you add it all together. If it's longer than 15 minutes and it was within 6 feet without masks, then you could be considered a direct contact if an individual were to test positive for COVID. In that instance, we reach right out to the family, and we do have the ability to do rapid testing once it is appropriate to do so. There's a lot of information that we could talk about related to when it is appropriate and best to do a test. And so next week we will have on our website, around Monday or Tuesday, we will have posted on our district website some information for you for parents, so that you can kind of understand what happens if we test positive. What happens to those that come into close contact. So all of those types of questions, they're very nuanced, and there are a lot of variables that come into play. It's not as easy as just sitting down and explaining it in this manner. So what we'd like to do is put something out for you in writing so that you can take a look at it, and hopefully it will answer your questions. And then if you do have any other questions after that, feel free to reach out to the sites, and we can have someone talk with you and answer any specific questions you might have. So that part being said, related to COVID and coming back, what was just wonderful to see was how everyone was responding with one another, how kids were engaged in classrooms. As we went around, we were able to get into I went into almost every classroom. I missed a couple at Desert High School. But going around and seeing kids being together again and learning and just being happy, it was amazing to see. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for the partnership that we have. We will still continue to use Chromebooks. Trevor's going to talk some about Chromebooks today. And as always, we would ask you that if you have any district equipment from last year that you haven't checked in, if you would please do so. We would love to be able to give that right back to your student. That's easy to do, but we do need to check it into our system and then get it checked back out to them. So anything like that. And also, if you happen to have any textbooks from last year that maybe didn't get turned back in, we're not the library. We don't charge you, 25 cents a day or anything like that. But if you do have a textbook from last year, we could use textbooks back that might be sitting at home. We have enough textbooks for all the students, but we're also missing quite a few. And those extra ones, every one of those costs quite a bit of money. So if you have some lying around and you could give them back to us, we'd appreciate it. So with that, I would just like to thank you for a very successful first week of school, and we will see you next week.
Hello, students and parents of Muroc Joint Unified School District. My name is Trevor Walker. I'm the Chief Business Officer for our district. I want to talk to you today about food service and technology. First, on food service, right now, all students are able to eat free because of a program called the Seamless Summer Option. That option's been extended past summer. Right now it's going to run, it looks like, through the end of September. Assuming it doesn't get extended, what that means is come the end of September, the normal free, reduced, and full pay brackets will come back into play. If you've been sending money with your student or you've put money on their account, don't fret. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there. And that money will actually follow your student through their whole career here at Muroc. In the event you move out of the area or they graduate, you can get that money back. We're happy to refund you that money. Other thing I want to stress is even though right now meals are free, please still fill out the free and reduced application. Obviously, the name makes it sound like it's just for food. However, here in California, that application is actually used for a lot of other things. And one of the things we've noticed in the last few years is fewer people are filling them out because the meals have been free through the pandemic. But what that also means is our actual funding gets reduced by the state too. It's kind of an interesting system. I would get into it, but I'm sure nobody really wants to learn the intricacies of school finance. But the short version is filling out that application helps our district get funding. And that funding is not used for meals. That funding is used for programs for everything from before and after school supports to AP classes, to interventions and to other things to help support our children here in this district. So please take a moment, go online, fill it out. It's real easy, it's real simple online. If you don't happen to have online access at home, you can come to schools, we can get you a Chromebook, you can do it there. Or if you really just want to fill it out on paper, you can do that too. The nice thing about doing electronically, whether it's at home, on your phone, or in the school with Chromebook, is it goes through and it automatically checks. So if there's any hiccup or any problem there, it'll automatically catch it and you can fix it right there rather than us having to send paper back and forth. Last thing I want to touch on is technology. We have gone to one-to-one Chromebooks last year and we're staying one-to-one. At the elementary level, this program is where the student will put it in a Chrome cart at the school and it stays there. It stays there overnight. And they pull it out and in as they need it. What we are doing is we still check out the Chromebook to the student. And we do this for a few reasons. First, right now, we're in a pandemic, and just for safety, that way that same student's using that same device every day. The other reason is to make sure the students are accountable for their Chromebook. We want to make sure that we protect these Chromebooks. While we use Chromebooks because they're not as expensive as some other devices, they're still quite expensive and they're a big cost to our district. We want to make sure we protect those investments and we have that available for students now and in the future. And this lets us track and make sure that if we have someone that's maybe not treating them so well, we can address it and move forward. Lastly, because we are in the pandemic, there is the possibility of a class having to quarantine. Because we've already have those Chromebooks set up and checked out to that student, we need to have that agreement on file, that student use and checkout agreement. What that means is if, say, Tuesday, that class ends up finding out it needs to quarantine, by Wednesday, you can be coming by, you can get that student's Chromebook. We can just move forward seamlessly. Now, it is important to know at the high school level, students have the ability to bring it home. Obviously, that adds a little more risk. We've gone ahead, we've provided some sleeves to students. If you didn't get one, I'm told maybe we've had a couple that forgot to grab one. Go back to your school site, grab a sleeve. To be honest, the sleeve is really to protect more from scratches or some moisture. If you drop it on the concrete, you drop it on the concrete and it's probably going to break. So please make sure you talk to your students. Students, if you're watching this, please be mindful of these Chromebooks. They're a piece of electronic. They're fragile. We buy as robust a product as we can, so it's hopefully going to hold up to the use and abuse, and they have overall. But something like dropping on the concrete or spilling water all over it and flooding the keyboard out pretty much always kill a Chromebook. So please take care of the Chromebooks. If you don't, there is a fee, there is a cost. Just like if you take a textbook and you destroy a textbook, you'll end up being responsible for that. And we really don't want anyone to have to do that. So please, parents, sit down with your students. Students, just make sure you're very careful with that technology. We will continue to check them out. Right now, I think we're a little bit short at a couple of our schools. We have more on order. One of the reasons we're short is A, we had a lot of students that did damage them last year. B, we've actually had a number of students not return them yet. So if in your household you happen to have a Chromebook that says Muroc School District on it and you haven't brought it back since summer, please go ahead and bring it in. There's no punishment, there's no fee. We just need to check it in, verify everything's working well, and we'll check it right back out to your student. But we just need to verify which Chromebooks we have and we don't have. And we want to make sure that these Chromebooks last as long as they possibly can. So with that, enjoy the rest of your week, and we will talk to you in one more week. Have a good one.